What is Dr. Doom's greatest weakness, and how can the heroes of Earth 616 hope to beat him? Dr. Doom is one of Marvel's most dangerous villains to date, and for very good reason. Contrary to popular belief, he is not just a Fantastic Four villain, or even an Avengers villain, but he is a multiverse-level threat, and has proven it on multiple occasions. He is the student of just about every scientific and mystic practice known to man, with technology to rival Tony Stark, skills in the mystic arts that are second only to Doctor Strange, and an intellect on par with Reed Richards, which makes beating Dr. Doom nearly impossible. When he sets his sights on an objective, almost nothing can stand in his way. Not the Avengers, Reed Richards, or even the bounds of time and space itself are enough to stand in Doom's path. So today, let's talk about how to beat Dr. Doom since it is such an impossible task, one of the most formidable villains in all of Marvel Comics. How would someone take down, how is anyone meant to conquer, the Avengers Doomsday? In order to understand how to best beat Doom, we have to understand that his greatest asset isn't his physical strength, or even the limits of his magic and technology, and because of this, it's not the sheer might of his opponent that makes a difference in many of his battles. When weighing who and who cannot beat Dr. Doom, we have to look beyond who is stronger than him, or even who possesses more power. Dr. Doom has faced enemies that far outclass his power level and his skill set, with very little difficulty. Doom is always searching for more power, and he has stolen the power cosmic from Galactus, and Doom has even stripped the Beyonders of their power. But he's gone even further than these feats. While he's most well known for his ability to steal the power of the Beyonders, Doom recently encountered the creature known as the Cormorant, who is described as one of the most powerful living creatures in any reality. Yet, Doom was able to defeat him for one simple reason, because this was not his first time facing the Cormorant. You see, the last time Cormorant was on Earth, he was fighting the Fantastic Four, and Doom had the opportunity to study the creature and learn about it before his next encounter. And this is what highlights Doom's most powerful asset, his ability to learn and his ability to plan. Doom is one of the most careful planners in the world, which is only aided by the fact that he's also one of the smartest beings. Every time he was able to match the power of the Silver Surfer, Galactus, the Beyonders, or the Cormorant, it was because Doom was prepared. Doom had studied his opponents well in advance. Doom even keeps a comprehensive list of contingency plans, tactical advantages, and strategic weaknesses on every being that he encounters. And Doom wins almost every fight because he knows his opponents so well. He has the knowledge of how to beat something or someone, and then he also has the physical means, be it through science or magic, to execute the plan. When Dr. Doom is put into a situation where a new threat is introduced though, then the results are a bit more mixed, and Doom's defense is not quite as strong as his offense. During the Dark Reign event, Doom and Norman Osborn fought one another to a standstill, but Norman's greatest asset was that he had the Sentry at his back. The Sentry is incredibly powerful, but he is nowhere near the level of something like the Beyonders, who are quite literally beings who exist outside of the bounds of the multiverse. On Earth, and by the standards of what just Earth 616 has to offer though, the Sentry is tremendously powerful, but compared to Doom, he should not have been anything special. Yet, despite the caliber of individuals that Doom has fought before, the Sentry was able to keep Doom in line during the Dark Reign, simply because of the fact that Doom did not have an adequate plan for how to handle the Sentry. If he had some sort of tactic that he could have used, then we know Doom would have put the Sentry to shame. But under these conditions where Doom was left unprepared, the Sentry was able to beat him. The problem with this, however, is that now the Sentry had better prepare for round 2, because Doom is always able to learn from each and every one of his encounters. Now that he has battled the Sentry and has learned how he operates, the time has come where the two are due for a rematch, and we would not be placing our bets on Robert Reynolds the second time around. The difficulty in this idea is being able to find a variable that Doom has not already found or accounted for, simply because again, Doom is one of the most intelligent tacticians on the planet. Very few can outthink Victor, barely anybody, let alone find a weakness in his plans. But if someone is able to catch him unprepared, then they may have a fighting chance. But that's contingent on the idea that whoever Doom is fighting can also find a wild card which can throw Doom off kilter. In terms of power scaling, these trump cards don't have to be incredibly powerful on the level of something like a Galactus or the Beyonders. They just have to be from a foreign enough environment or have different plans so that Doom cannot know who he's dealing with. What's imperative though is that when someone gets Doom to go down, they need to ensure that he stays down, because if he's able to learn from his mistakes and study his enemy, then almost nobody will be able to fight Doom and be victorious twice. Doom learns incredibly quickly, so if the aforementioned wildcard isn't able to do the job quickly, then Doom will begin to understand its patterns and its weaknesses. The longer the fight goes on, the more dangerous and powerful Doom gets, because as soon as he understands something, the fight is over. Another semi-effective way to get Doom into a precarious position, though, is to appeal to his ego and his incredibly inflated sense of vanity. As we mentioned many times before, Doom is one of the most prideful villains to ever grace the pages of comics, and this is because he has evidence to back up all of his claims. Someone like Magneto may see themselves as a righteous crusader and a more sympathetic villain, whereas someone like the Green Goblin is driven by chaos and destruction. But Doom is very different. He is arrogant because he has every right to be. His self-image eclipses just about anyone else on Earth 616, and a few heroes have learned that by appealing to Doom's ego and his massive hubris, that they are often able to manipulate him into doing their bidding. Doom thrives on a sense of self-importance, and loves nothing more than seeing other heroes humble themselves in his presence, and so he is helped a few times, simply because Doom loves watching inferior beings bed. If he is offered a chance to prove that he is better than someone, especially if that someone is Reed Richards, then Doom is almost certain to intervene. While this might allow some heroes to direct Doom, it's very unlikely that getting him to listen will outright defeat him unless he has another motive behind his plans. More often than not, Doom cannot be reasoned with simply because he's smarter than whoever he is debating. And if he is not smarter, he thinks he is, and will not listen. He does not need the aid of inferior beings, and to him, that is basically everybody. In the comics, Conan was able to remove Doom's mask simply by telling him that hiding his face was vain, and of course, Doom had to prove Conan wrong by removing his faceplate out of spite. This is probably the best way to trick Doom, which is a simple reverse psychology method, and his hyperinflated ego is particularly susceptible to jabs such as this. After the events of Secret Wars, when Doom quite literally had the power of a multiversal god, he speaks with Valeria Richards once the event has been settled. At that point, he had the power of the Beyonders taken away from him again, and he tells Valeria that he was once a god, and that he had found that beneath him. To say that again, his views complete, unrivaled multiversal godhood as being beneath Doom. We're not talking about being one of the gods of Asgard, or one of the Olympians. We're not even talking about universal level godhood. We are talking about the event where Doom forged the only surviving remnants of the multiverse into his own kingdom. Everything that was left of the multiverse, the shattered remains of every timeline that had been eradicated, was collected together into one homeworld that Doom ruled over with absolute control. There was nothing left that was not under Doom's control. For all intents and purposes, this was literally all of existence that Doom was the ruler of, and he found that to be beneath him. If his vanity is not enough, there is always the option that he could be physically overwhelmed given enough physical opposition, though this should only be used as a nuclear option as there is nothing else to be done. Doom doesn't often battle with the X-Men, but he does have a more difficult time with them simply because of how varied each of them are in their power sets. In the comics, not only does Doom know less about the X-Men than he does the Avengers or the Fantastic Four, but their roster is one of the most fluid lineups in all of comics. New members come and go regularly, with new powers that Doom doesn't have advanced knowledge of, and since he doesn't encounter them very often, they are sometimes the most effective team to fight Doom. Similarly to this, he was stripped of his power during the Secret Wars arc when Reed Richards and several other heroes were able to keep him occupied long enough for Molecule Man to grab away enough of the Beyonders' powers to get the upper hand. All in all, it seems as though the best plan for physically attacking Doom is a rapid ambush with as many variables as possible, but even this is not much of a plan against someone of Doom's caliber. But anyway, my friends, what do you think of Dr. Doom's greatest weakness? And when he gets an objective in his head, what can anyone do to stop him? How do you think the Avengers will ultimately conquer Dr. Doom in Avengers Doomsday or Secret Wars? And will we get to see the God Emperor in the MCU? As always, my friends, Hulk smash that subscribe button for more Marvel news and lore, and have a great day.